Alright, the project for today is to install a stereo in a Yamaha golf cart. So I've got the Fusion RA60 and there it is right there. Got the wiring. That's the gasket that goes behind it. I always like to use that just to double check before I start cutting. They do have a template. I cut out the template, so I'm going to put that on first and use a Sharpie, and then I'm going to use a Dremel and see if I can make a relatively straight cut. First thing you need to do on the dashboard of the golf cart is pry off this little emblem. Somehow. Okay, I got a different plastic pry bar here. It's got a pointier corner on it to try and get up under there. There we go. So I use plastic, of course, because I don't want to mar the surface. Anyways, underneath that is then a 3mm Allen screw. So I'm going to take this out. And then this really just pops off. There's some friction clips. All right, so then inside here, a couple of things that I noticed is there was this set of wires that already had these crimps on the end, and I just put it onto a 12-volt accessory cigarette lighter outlet. I'm going to put that into the side over here probably, or maybe on the passenger side. I'll do that a little bit later. I want to get this stereo in here first because that's going to take up the most space. There is a secondary set of wires. I already tested these earlier. They are a constant 12 volt. This is a gas engine Yamaha, so it just has a single 12 volt battery. So that's that. And then what I'm doing is the like multifunction hour meter. I popped that out of this front location. It was here, right here. So I'm going to take that out because I'm actually going to put the stereo right down in here. I thought about putting it up here, but this is a rounded surface. And so it's not going to fit real flush. So I already did some pre-measurements and it'll fit right in here. I'll go right along the edge of this existing hole, and then I'll create another cutout. That's actually probably what I'll put over here on the driver's side, probably up in this location right over here. And then that 12-volt accessory plug I'll put kind of in this area, which is on the passenger side. Now these come with a USB, but I want to have a 12-volt accessory as well. I'm going to run a small inverter and put some Halloween lights and things like that, which I'll probably show at a later time. So it's just nice to have that. It didn't come with it, but like I did mention, it came with this sort of pre-wired option, so you can just drop one in pretty easily. So if you're looking for just that, that's a very easy option. And what I had originally thought about was just drilling a small, I think 1 inch or so hole right here and putting that in, but then again, that wouldn't leave me a real good spot for the stereo. So I'm going to try it this way, hopefully not cut any extra holes. Alright, so I took the template, Put a little bit of painter's tape on there just to hold it in place. I'm putting it right up against that edge of that existing hour meter hole. I did take that gasket that I mentioned. It's too floppy to show you, but I put that on there as well, just as a secondary check, to make sure that, I don't know, the template's accurate and I applied it correctly and all that kind of stuff. Then I took the Sharpie and just kind of lightly went along the outside edge, and then I'm going to remove this. So you can see the mark, and then I am going to get the Dremel, and I am going to wear I'm actually going to wear a full face shield because I've had those little Dremel cutting wheels break before and fly back and hit you in the face, so trying to have a little bit of safety on this one. So I will do that. Don't know that I'm going to be able to film that, but you'll certainly see the after. Alright, safety first. As you're cutting, you want to run the Dremel at a kind of slow speed. Take your time. There's some melting of the plastic that occurs, so I'm just going to take a utility knife and just clean up the edge a little bit, just so there's not all these little melted pieces here. But it came out pretty well. And the thing I failed to mention before is always make sure you got plenty of space back here. I moved all the wires out of the way so that I wouldn't actually accidentally hit anything. So I'll clean that up and then show you what that looks like, and then do a test fit. Alright, well, it's a little bit cleaner. You know, all this is going to be hidden behind the bezel, but I just didn't want any chunky stuff because I would like it to have a decent seal. So some of it I'm just cleaning up with fingernail, and some of it I use a utility knife. I'll take this and just do a quick test fit. So that goes in pretty well. Flat, flat. It's as tight up here as you can get, and down here it's, you know, I guess it goes, sorry, it's very tight confines in here. You know, it goes a little bit below, but I think it looks good. There's some cover pieces and stuff, so I'll get that stuff on next. You do have to drill 4 holes for the mounting screws, and they do give you mounting screws. I don't know if they're stainless steel, so I'm not going to use them. I'm going to use some stainless steel ones. I don't want something that's going to rust and then drip down if this does get wet. I don't really plan on this getting very wet, but it could happen. So I'll do that next. Alright, so I use the Sharpie and just put a dot in each of these. This is definitely where I'm a fan of using the actual thing you're mounting as the template rather than a template. It's just hard to do that when it's this big hole. So you can see little marks. So I'm going to drill those holes out, and then remember to put the gasket on the back of the stereo. So I'll get that on here. Drilled the holes, got the gasket on. Slide this in, and we'll put each of these screws in. Okay, I got all 3. That's the last one. So I went with a pretty small hole, smaller than the screw really needs, because this is very thin, very soft plastic. And then as you get right to the edge here, right to the end, don't over tighten, because you'll just strip it right out. All right, there's that. And then there's some decorative clips that go on the outsides. There goes that. All right, so there's that. Of course, that's just mounted. I need to do all the wiring and that kind of stuff. I'm eventually going to put speakers back here on this plate that's in between the front and the back seats, down in this area. I think they're 6.5-inch speakers, will fit there. Kind of did a dry fit of that earlier. Not going to do that right now, because what I want to do instead is get the 12-volt accessory hole in place and get that mounted, and then also for this hour meter, need to make a pretty good size hole for this and get that mounted as well. So those will be the next two things I'll tackle. So I used a hole saw and just slow, steady, again, soft plastic, so there's some melting there a little bit. Again, I'll probably clean up that hole just a touch, and then this guy will go in like this. Let's see, I want to clean this stuff up so I can't see any of that. So that's a 1-inch, and then I'm going to do a 2-inch hole. This is on the passenger side, and then I'll do a 2-inch hole for the hour meter on the driver's side, in roughly the same location. Steering wheel's a little bit in the way, so I'll have to maneuver it a little bit. All right, that's cleaner. So you take the nut, which is here, off of the back, and slide this through, get it lined up however you want. I try to make it so you can read a little bit. And you just tighten it from the back, just like this. So I'm going to tighten that up. Alright, so that's tight. And then on here you'll see a plus and a minus. So you find this guy, and red to plus, black to minus. Just like this. All right, and then once you got that all installed, you either test it with a meter, or in this case, test it with the application that I'm going to actually do. So I've got this little mini inverter, and I've got lights. On-off switch here, and I now have Halloween lights, or any other season, or no season at all. So there's a on-off switch on that inverter, and then when you plug it, that's it. So cool. That's it for that. Alright, so nice and slow, then clean it up, and then I'll install the hour meter. Alright, so that's all hooked back up. Turn my headlights on, lights up. So, you know, when sitting here, you kind of have to look down here to see it, but it's still available, it's still there. All that kind of stuff keeps this area cleaner, I think. All right, thanks for watching so far.